Reviewing afternoon tea in Detroit, Michigan. We just had afternoon tea for 2 guests at the Whitney in Detroit, Michigan, which is easy to get to over the border in Windsor. This venue is recommended to me by folks on the Clock app, so I thought we'd check it out. I will rate it using my Tea Time scorecard, but first, who am I? Well, the self-proclaimed Queen of Afternoon Tea based in Ontario, Canada, who documents all my tea experiences across multiple platforms. You can learn more about me and my royal credentials in my intro video linked on screen and in the description, but let's get into this Tea Time review, eh? The Whitney is described as a fine dining establishment inside a mansion. The lower level was stunning, and we were told that tea was being held this day on the upper level. There were multiple dining rooms, and we were seated by the window of one room. Everything was set up very nicely, with full linens on the table. The food menu was also on the table, and there was a hibiscus herbal infusion tea already steeped and waiting for us, which the server poured for us when we were seated. We were also offered a mimosa or champagne to start, which some folks would certainly enjoy. There was a live pianist playing, which definitely added to the ambiance here in a positive way. The ambiance, table setting, and customer service was very good here, so that's receiving a 5 out of 5 on the scorecard. So there was no tea menu here, as in you drank the hibiscus tea that was already on your table. I've never seen it before where you get no tea options whatsoever. I was a bit astonished by this, so I asked if a black tea was available. I was told they would try to find one, and a few minutes later a woman returned with a teapot for me of Earl Grey. Although they were able to accommodate me wanting a different tea, it's quite odd that they don't allow all guests to choose a tea. Because of this, the tea aspect is being scored at 2.5 out of 5 on the scorecard. There was a starter served first. It was 3 strawberries and some type of cream. This tasted good, but do you agree? It's odd to have a dessert served as a starter. After this, our 3-tier of savories was delivered. We swapped out the salmon sandwich for a second chicken salad. The savory bites weren't very tasty. For example, the bread had started to dry out, and the cracker was actually soggy. The chicken salad was messy and inconsistent on our 4 samples. I would say there are about 60 people starting their afternoon tea at the same time here, so everything is served in a catering style. This affects the freshness of the food, having it laid out for a longer duration before it is delivered to the tables. The freshness and therefore the quality of the food suffers with this catering style, in my royal opinion. There are some variety to the savories but no standout bites, so these savories are a 3 out of 5 for me. Next, we like to eat our scones. Each guest got 1 cranberry scone, and they were served with a shared pot of honey butter and applesauce, which we split between our plates so we could share them. The scones were dry, breaking into pieces when we cut them. They tasted okay, but they were good per se. The butter was fine because I love butter, but applesauce, it makes no sense why they aren't serving jam here. Jam is easy to get and inexpensive, and people like jam. Of course, proper clotted cream should be served at a proper afternoon tea. I was not a fan of the scone situation here, so its score is 4 out of 10. After we finished our tier, we were presented with the dessert plate, 1 for each of us. Again, everyone received their dessert plate at the same time, and they had been sitting outside the room on trays for quite a while. We received a macaron, a coconut pie tart, a coconut almond chocolate bar which had melted into a goopy mess. I don't care for macarons because they never taste flavorful and are so overdone at afternoon tea. While the other 2 sweets tasted fine, they are virtually the same thing, since they are both coconut flavored. Don't get me wrong, I love coconut, but in all of the dessert flavors on earth, why would they serve 2 of the same flavor? I cannot comprehend serving the same flavor twice on a plate of 3 items. Sweets receive a 2.5 out of 5 on the scorecard here. This afternoon tea costs $49 USD per person, so it's not too outlandish. The The venue is really pretty and impressive, but I would not bring my grandma here because the food wasn't good enough and she'd hate not being able to choose her own tea from a proper menu. My overall impression score here is 5.5 out of 10. My final score for the Whitney in Detroit is barely a pass at 56% on the scorepad, which is 22.5 out of 40. I'd say you're paying for the ambiance and service here, and as long as you aren't expecting top-notch food or a classic afternoon tea experience, you might enjoy this venue and should give it a whirl if you're in the area. Is this a venue you'd attend for afternoon tea? Please comment below, and thanks for watching. As always, please like this video and subscribe for future tea reviews.